Working with the selection tools is a great way to extract information from a particular picture or something that you are working with. I've got a picture here, and if I want to extract maybe the black out of computer, I could simply click on it with the wand that we went over, and I would go to the tabs over here, select. I've got a choice where I'm able to select everything. I'm able to deselect. I've got an option to select similar. So now by selecting similar, we see that the computer is automatically, the Macromedia Fireworks program has automatically selected all the similar colors in this particular image. And now I could make my selection. I could delete them if I wanted to. And we see how all the black has been deleted out of the image. The next choice we have is select inverse. So now it's going to select everything but the black area. I can delete that out and we can see what was originally selected. The next choice I have is to feather the selection, and it asks us our radius in pixels of how much feathering we want to do with the selection. And this is just going to simply select out of our original selection. So now we see that the area was now feathered and it's changed, and we can increase this or decrease as we need to. I'm just going to click off of this and I'm going to reselect the black area that we had selected earlier. We're able to have an option to expand the marquee. So the selected area, if we weren't happy with it and we want to expand it, we can enter in an amount of space by pixels that we want to expand it by. So here we see that the C that I had originally selected, the black C, has now been extended by 10 pixels in either way. Similarly, I can contract the marquee by 10 pixels, and we see that the contraction has brought it down. Reselected it, and I'm able to have border marquee, and we're able to make a border of, once again, width of 10 pixels we're going to work with, and we see that it's created a border around the selection of 10 pixels. And we're also able to smooth the marquee and enter in the amount that we want to smooth it by, and we see that instead of the awkward shape that we had before, we've got a smooth oval shape now of the selection that we have. We're able to save the particular selection as a separate bitmap image. So if I wanted to keep this C out, I can now save it as a separate bitmap image, and we see that now this C has been saved as a separate bitmap image. And we can now maneuver it and take it out and move it to wherever we need to move it. Once again, working with view, we're able to adjust our viewing area. We're able to zoom in and zoom out. Either that, or we can press the control equal sign or minus sign to zoom. We've got an option for a quick magnification, and we've got some options here for some quick keys. Control 1 is to 100% zoom, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 400% zoom, 800% zoom, 1600% zoom, and these are some quick keyboard options that we're able to make selections with. This is also the same as when we were setting the magnification tool just above the properties panel here at the bottom, where I can make my selection. I can adjust the viewing size of the object that we're working with. We're also able to have a default by fit all, and we can see that it automatically proportions it, and it finds that 300 by 200 automatically fits at 169% of the image that we're working on. We've got a full display, and we've got a Macintosh Gamma display. So these would be for the Macintosh Gamma colors. We can also adjust our full display, and we can take that off, or we can have that once again. We're able to show all, which simply is just showing everything that we're working with. So if I went down to show all here, we would be able to see everything that we're working with. We've got an option for rulers. This is simply helps us space out exactly where we are on the document that we're working with, and we can see that as we're moving the mouse icon across the image, we see that it's also correlating with the ruler that's above and beside us. We've got an area for a grid where we can show the grid, we can snap certain objects to the grid, and we can edit the grid. So I'm just going to go ahead and show the grid. This is the grid area. So if you were working with and trying to space out your particular image, certain areas on the grid, you can easily have a grid, and then you're able to edit the grid and set it to the way that you want to work with it. We can add in different guides, we can show guides, we can lock guides, we can snap the images to guides, and we can edit our guides. So if we want to, we would be able to see our guides, or we could not see our guides. We've got an option here for the slice guides if we want them or if we don't want them, slice overlay if we want them or if we don't want them visible. We're able to also hide all the different edges, and we're also able to hide all the panels. So in this effect now we're working with a larger area here, that we've got a larger work area. So I'm just going to uncheck those. And then we've got the status bar, which will show us exactly where our status is down here at the bottom. Right now we've got no selection, and it's telling us to select and move objects. And right now, as soon as I selected it, we see that the selection has shown that we've selected a bitmap. And that's basically essentially how to use the View tab on the top menu here. Working with text in Macromedia Fireworks, we've got an option here for text where we can select the font size, the size, the style, the alignment. It's going to be similar to what we see down in the properties. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just type some text. We see that we've got the properties that we went over earlier with text, and we've also got the same options over here. We've got an editor window that we can open up, and we can see exactly how it's going to look as we work with it, and then we can simply apply it, and this applies it to our document window. We've also got a few options here of attaching to paths and detaching to paths. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just create a simple path. It's going to create an oval shape, and this will be our path that we're going to work with. I'm going to get rid of the fill color here. And we see that this is the path that we're going to work with. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select both objects, and I'm going to go over to the text, and we see that we've got a new option, or we can press Ctrl-Shift-Y on the keyboard, and I'm just going to go ahead and press Attach to Path, and we see that the text that we were just working with has now been attached to the path, starting at the first spot here and moving all the way around. We're able to change the orientation to either to be vertical, we're able to skew it horizontally, or we're able to skew it vertically or horizontally. We're able to also I'm just going to simply go back to rotate around the path, and we can reverse the direction that it's rotating. So now we see that it's rotated on the inside of the path. And then converting to paths is what we looked at earlier. We've got an option for spell checking, and first we have to select the language dictionary that we're going to be using. By default it's given us an option for the Macromedia, the American English, and the British English. If we've got our dictionary path and we want to import a new dictionary, we could browse for it over here. We're able to edit the personal dictionary, we're able to find duplicate words, and we've got some options here that we can look for. So these, when we're doing our spell check, it's also going to be looking for duplicate words, and this is what it's going to be ignoring. In uppercase, it's going to ignore the internet and file addresses and words with numbers. We also got an option for spelling, so that's the way to do the spell check. We can do it quickly by pressing the Shift F7, and we select OK, and we see that the spelling has all been OK on the current document that we're working with. Then if we want, we're also able to detach it from the path, obviously, and separate the path and the text.